Hello, gorgeous ladies, and welcome to the second in our installment of Life and Style. And it's a new segment that we're doing because we have so many wonderful women in our community that do things or can share things with our community that really matter to us as women 35 plus. So it's stuff that we really care about and would love to get some more insights about. So today I am joined by the fabulous Virginia Wells. So let me just bring her on. I'm going to be really tech savvy now today. Hey Virginia, how you going?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. Thanks
That's
for having
great.
me.
So I'm very lucky that I have known Virginia for many, many years, and we have collaborated on a lot of projects together, but she's also a very dear friend. Virginia, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Well, I'm a declutterer. I do organising here in Canberra. My business is WellSorted, professional organising, and I help women who are overwhelmed declutter and organise their homes to make them feel in control and organised at home. So that's sort of what I do. Generally, that's in person, face to face, doing one-on-one consults. I do Zoom sessions for those who aren't in Canberra, and most recently, I've also put to my toolbox, I guess you'd call it, clinical emotional freedom technique, which is sort of decluttering the stuff under the stuff, because what I've observed is it's not really just your clothes in your wardrobe or whatever. It's other things going on underneath the surface. So, yeah.
And I have to say, that's what I really love about you and your business. It's not just about the stuff, it's actually the stuff behind the stuff. And I think that's something that we're going to cover off today because I know that when Christy, Emma, or I work with clients, it's not just about, it's not as simple as just removing a piece from your wardrobe. There's often something else that's happening. And I know that we're looking for some tips on, how to let go of those pieces or, understanding why perhaps we're holding on to things and how to do it in a way that feels really comfortable for us. But before we dive into that, we do want to hear a little bit more about you and your style because can I just say you are looking radiant and fabulous today.
Thank you.
So can you share with us a little bit, I guess, about your style journey so far? And Virginia has been very kind and sharing some pics of her style journey with us, which I just think is absolutely fabulous. So let me bring those up now. So can you just talk us through your style journey? And I guess as with all of us in our style journey, part of it is all about expressing our personal style and our
Yeah.
personality through what we wear. So can you share a little bit about your style journey?
Yeah, so I guess ever since I was a kid, I sort of grew up in the hand-me-downs, and didn't really have much of a style at all. Grew up in the 80s and 90s. One of the photos there is me as a teen, and I was, when I was able to purchase my own clothes and things, I was more into the hippie clothes and being alternative. I was very goth when I was a teenager. Didn't do all the makeup and everything, but I was, always wearing black, that type of thing. And I'd sort of just be in and out of lots of different, mainly alternative or in our world, in the super stylish, creative or maybe dramatic sort of dress. But then when I was at work, again, it doesn't really show the suit, but it's the only one I could find of me being very professional looking. And I'd have my work outfit, which was suits tailored, very, the classic look. And then on the weekend, I would be in that very alternate look. But then also when I went to weddings and things, which is the one in the blue dress, I'd be very, I guess, if that's elegant, I'm not sure if that's that style. And the photo you've got over on the side is my persona, which is again more of the dramatic. I did a lot of belly dancing, and so again it was very dark, lots of red, and alternate or goth or dramatic sort of look. So very different styles over the years. And now, I feel like I've I was more into the blacks and everything. And I remember when I first had my first session with you, you were like, navy, just try some navy. And I now don't have a lot of black. I'm more navy and have a lot more color and feel more confident wearing colors. And yeah, with my business, which is me with my legs crossed there, it's more a more relaxed, natural, which sort of changed, I think, when I had my daughter. I decided I was never wearing anything with buttons and zips again on the bottom half. I love I love all my jeggings and stuff like that.
And it's really interesting you say that, because that's something that we talk about a lot in terms of style personality, is that it will change over time depending on your lifestyle, your circumstances. Our preferences will change. So you'll still have, and I can see it throughout, you still very much have that creative base and even that dramatic base for you, Virginia. It's just that sometimes we add in a layer of classic. For example, when you're in a little bit more of a corporate environment, and now with the work that you do and having your daughter as well, we add in a little bit of the relaxed natural, because sometimes we just have to be practical with those things.
Yeah, my dog definitely needs that. Yeah.
So based on that, would you like to share what your style profile is? And for those of you who are new to Style Liberation, our style profile is our style personality, our color palette, and also our body architecture. Do you feel comfortable to share that with us?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a cool clear, and I'm not across my the contrasts and that type of thing yet. But cool clear, mainly creative, and relaxed natural is what I generally fall towards. Although I do, every time the style file comes out, I do peek into the dramatics, and I can never remember the name of the other one that's a bit like the dramatic.
The rebellious?
Yeah, rebellious. The rebellious and dramatic I often peek into. And my shape is triangle.
Perfect. And it's interesting, Virginia, you were saying before, Virginia is actually technically allowed to wear black, because you'll see in those photos she actually looks amazing in it, but she doesn't go bragging to other people. I just do that for her. But again, bringing in a little bit more of that relaxed natural, the navy, and we're annoying around that as well, I know. Yeah. So were there any surprises when you found out your style profile?
I think with the relaxed natural, I know that the fit to me is relaxed natural, but when it's described with the colors and things, I'm often like, no, that's not me, because the colors are very neutral, and I don't really do that, and I don't feel like I suit those colors either. But the fit wise, definitely, and creative, that feels right.
And I know that you're going to share some of the favorite things that you have in your wardrobe at the moment. I'm a bit excited about this because I think it really does reflect what you do in terms of being a professional organizer. So do you want to get your super duper box out and show
and this is actually
you are loving at the moment in your wardrobe?
You can see that. Get that into the picture. So this is a new purchase, actually, because I've got big earrings, and I have a littler one. It's probably, half the size or something, and it has littler spaces for earrings. Earrings are my favorite thing, as you can tell. I get to show a bit of that creativity without, I can wear this to work without it. Like when I was wearing necklaces, they'd get snapped in boxes I was carrying and stuff like that. So I decided to go for earrings. And the box
perfect for the era of Zoom as well, can I just say?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So it allows me to store like bigger earrings. These are like poker poly, and these are too. A new person, I think she's in Queensland, that I've been following and falling in love with all of her earrings and trying not to buy them all. My husband has said that I may have an earring purchasing issue. So yeah. It's okay to like things. For people think that I expect you to get rid of everything. If you enjoy it and you store it and you have space for it, it's okay. Don't go nuts. And so you can see, I've got different sparklies and stuff like that I like to wear. And then when I'm being a little bit more down, just a bit more standard, I'll wear something like that. And then I have my silver pick. So I wear silver. I don't do gold. That's a new set I bought recently.
Oh, gorgeous.
Yeah, so I've got like lots of silver ones. These were also very cool. These are all Etsy or Australian designers and things. So by Liv, I don't know if anyone's heard of them, but they're also very cool. She did the spotty ones and these. She's a Melbourne designer, I think.
They're
So
perfect.
yeah, so I've got lots of different ones. This one's probably more of a vintage one from my mum. Oh, turn it around that way so you can see the. Yeah, so they're very, they're from the 60s or something from Europe. But yes, so that's my love is my earrings.
You're a woman after my own heart. I have an earring obsession as well. So thank you for sharing that. And now I know that we have quite a few people waiting for some tips in terms or strategies for making some more space in our wardrobes, because we know that wardrobes can be a place where things just start to accumulate. And we know sometimes that's because we buy pieces to make other things work and it's a sort of an ever expanding situation. Sometimes it's because we don't want to let go. What are some of the main reasons you see with wardrobes that are starting to get a little bit bigger and getting a little bit cramped for space? What are some of the main reasons you see that happening?
Yeah, well, there's quite a number of reasons, but I guess the typical ones are probably the two small items. So often our shape changes, we have kids, whatever, we put on weight, or a lot of clients will have fluctuating weight, so they don't remove out the pieces that are too small or too big. And so a good first step is to take out. It doesn't even have to be taking it out to give away if you do have that fluctuating weight, but it's important to have only the items that fit, suit you, and you love in your wardrobe. So if you can take out the two smalls and the two bigs, making a clear distinction on, is how long has it been since I have been that size? Am I likely to get into that size again? If you've got some plan and you're doing something to get there, then maybe dedicate a box or two and say I'm allowed to keep this much. Give yourself a limit, because when you do lose weight, you'll probably reward yourself and get something different, or your body puts on weight in different ways, and then those things don't fit you the same way as they used to. So trying to give yourself a limit of what you do keep, if you are keeping it, and store it elsewhere. And then ideally give yourself a time frame of, if you still haven't lost that weight, then it's time for it to go in 12 months time. For those who have those fluctuating things where 6 months later they're a size bigger and then a size smaller, just have a spot for those items. That would be the main one, is the size difference type of thing. The other thing, not surprisingly, I'm constantly having conversations and sharing you, because it is really, half the time people will be holding up a piece of clothing and saying, I don't know, I really like this and that about it, but I'm not sure, I don't seem to wear it. And so, or it doesn't go with anything else. So I'm constantly saying, it could be really good for you we can cull out what we know you don't like, but it could be good to get a stylist in to understand what your colors are, to understand what shape suits you the best, because then you'll be able to look at all of this other stuff that's like, I don't really know, I don't feel comfortable letting it go. I know that when I did that with you, I declutter for a living, and I was just like, oh, there's just these things, I like the look of them and I'm not sure. And as soon as I learnt all of the sort of the principles of what fell right on me, if it stops here, it's bringing attention down to your hips, which are, you're trying to bring the attention up. So I easily then just went, well, that can go, that's muted, that's muted, that's muted. Like half my wardrobe was muted, and I needed, these cool, clear colors. So I think when you have that knowledge, it makes it very easy to then let go of things, and you feel more confident with making further purchases. So they're probably the main two. And then the other one is the sentimental stuff. So, I recall working with a client, and she held up she was happily showing me things and handing me things. And then she held up this beautiful yellow dress, and she quickly clung it to her body. And she said, no, you can't take this one. It doesn't fit me, but you can't have it. And I said, oh, well, you know, that's fine. Tell me about that dress. And she said, oh, you know, this is the first dress I wore with my now husband and on our first date, and it brings back so many good memories. And I remember how I looked in it at that time, and so on and so forth. So it was a very sentimental piece, but she didn't fit in it. And she wasn't, even if she did fit in it, I think she said she wouldn't wear it. So we had a conversation about how to keep those items, and it's okay to keep sentimental items, but it doesn't belong in your prime real estate of your wardrobe that you're going into every day. So having a memory box can be good. There are some other ways, and I do have an example of what I've done with some clothes here if you want to see those too.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is one of the things, like, and again, they're very similar things that we see in terms of wardrobe sizing, not sure if it's quite right for me or not, or how to wear it. But yeah, very much those sentimental items. And when you have those in front of you every day, it can be distracting because you can't see the items that you can mix and match on a daily basis because you've got all this other stuff in there as well.
Yeah.
But one of the big things around that we find is, okay, I love these sentimental items, and I know that you've got the memory box, and I'd like to touch on that again and come back to that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people would love to know some tips on repurposing as well, like especially sentimental items. So yeah, if you'd like to share that, that'd be great.
Yeah. So I mean, the example I've got here is actually of my daughter's clothing. I'd put aside, you know, little let's just hold them up for a second there. So
They are gorgeous.
aren't they cute?
Yeah.
So that, you know, this was a t-shirt that Imogen wore when she was about 3. You know, this was a singlet she wore when she was 1. The onesies are sort of in the legs and stuff like that. So I collected them in a box. And when I say to my clients, you know, you can put this in a memory box, but ideally you want to then do something with them so they're out on display and you can actually enjoy those memories instead of just hiding them away. If they're that special to us, then they should be enjoyed. So it was always my plan to find someone to make something out of them. I'm not that way inclined. And yeah, during lockdown, that was one of my projects. I decided to find someone on Etsy, Pommy Pals, I think she's called, and you send her the items and then she creates. I asked for bunnies specifically, and she sort of created those for me. So that's one way that you can, you know, we get to enjoy the memories. They sit up on a shelf. She plays with them, and I get to enjoy those memories. Other things I've seen people do, a client whose mum does a lot of knitting, and she had so many jumpers that her mum had made her, but she was like, I can't wear them, but I don't feel like I can get rid of them. They mean so much to me. So she could sew, and she had made a few cushion covers out of hers. And
that's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, well, you know, it's like, well, how can I repurpose this? And fabrics it can be a little bit trickier because there's only a certain few things you can do, depending on how much of it you need to remember. Like, you know, that special dress, if it means that much, you could frame it or something, or if you're really creative and artistic, or you want to commission someone to do something with it, you know, they could create something, you know, around the dress as well to make it a feature. That might be too much for some, and it's really just seeing the color of the fabric or something that helps. So another person I knew, another client, they had collected fabrics from different outfits. So yeah, they'd kept all the outfits, and then they made like a collage out of the fabrics, and it was a memory of sitting as a child. They used to sit out on their veranda on a hammock and read a book. So they'd sort of collage this scene basically, and now it's a big picture on the wall with those fabrics. And, you know, it was like, oh, this was my dress when I was the school dress I wore, you know, little slithers of the fabrics rather than the whole item. So it depends on your level of comfort with hacking up these items. If not, and you're happy for it to sit in a box, that's okay. But I guess, like I said, it's really good to be able to enjoy those memories and see, when I see this, I see my daughter sitting out on the lawn in the grass and, having a big smile on her face and being really happy. So that's better than it sitting in a box and me pulling it out every, 3 years and going, oh, that's right. That's
You get
nice.
that beautiful flashback or that memory sort of on a daily basis, really.
Yeah. Same as, if it was the cushion cover or something like that. Yeah. It connects you in immediately.
Yeah, I love it. I love the idea of it being sort of repurposed into something that is useful or a work of art or, a toy or something like that. I think that's a great idea in terms of that. Perfect. So we've talked a little bit about the three reasons that people find it a little bit tricky to let go, and repurposing as one alternative. But what are some of the, emotions that come up in terms of letting go, and how do you help people work through those?
Yeah, so there are, if we use the example of the clothes that are too small, and I can speak from personal experience with this. I put on 2 or 3 sizes when I had my daughter and haven't been able to shift that. And I didn't feel like I could let go of the wardrobe I just purchased with you. We've gone shopping. I was really happy with all of the items that I'd chosen, embracing that new, that creative style and things. And I didn't want to accept that I wasn't going to be that size again. And, we're 5 years later and I'm still the biggest size. And I had to make a decision at some point that it hurts to look at that clothes and go, I'm not that person. I'm not that person each time I looked in there. And that's what I see with my clients. It's sort of having to make a conscious shift in, like, to say, well, I'm saying goodbye to that part of me. And this is, it doesn't mean that I can't necessarily get back there. But at this point in time, it's causing me more grief than it is pleasure. And, being able to go into your wardrobe and choose what works and looks good and makes you feel good, in my opinion, is much nicer to be able to do. So sometimes just being able to talk about it and is often what then allows people to let it go, and having that permission to say, it's okay to let this go, or that part of my life is now different, particularly with those style changes that come, going from being goth to classic suits and, just a little bit more alternate or whatever, mainstream, is like, okay, well, that personality, I still am that person, but I don't have to keep the clothes to prove that. And this is me just talking from my own perspective, really. I'm not this direct with working with clients where, I help them figure out what it is for them. So the conversation is helpful. And then with the clinical emotional freedom technique, then that's a bit more, practitioner-led process where you're actually physically working through tapping through points to release something. So even though I don't want to let go of this amazing shirt because it doesn't fit, I deeply and completely accept myself. And then whatever ends up coming up with that practice, it taps into your unconscious thoughts. So sometimes that can help things shift as well.
It's great. And it is really about that emotion. And I know at Style Lib, we're very much, we want people to feel good in what they're wearing now and not have those distractions in their wardrobe that, don't make you feel your best. And so if you've got a wardrobe full of pieces that, fit you and represent your style, then it very much, it's that easy win. Rather than having something there that is a reminder of perhaps a style that you had or a lifestyle that you had or a size that you were instead.
Yeah, so, that's right.
No, love that. The other thing, and I was just wondering if this ever comes across for you, it comes up for us time, is sometimes about the amount of money that perhaps we've spent on an item and perhaps haven't worn. How do you work through that one?
Yeah, so the value of things, because there can be, I guess the way I approach it is asking. So you've got the monetary value, but what other value can you place on this item? So when you're considering the other values, often I'm saying things like, what about your sanity of getting dressed in the morning and opening a cupboard, to all of this frustration of I can't find anything to wear and things falling out at you and so on. So, do you value your sanity more than the money that you spent on that? The space, or all the ease of use, that type of thing, can be, a different type of value. On occasion, the conversation will then be, well, if you still value the money side of things, can we find ways to sell it? What would you be happy with? Is it a realistic amount? That type of thing. Placing limits on those. So, if it's worth more than, if I can sell it for more than $20, then I'm going to try and sell it. But if it's going to be less than that, then I'm not going to bother, because it's a time-consuming task, particularly with clothes. Or are you happy to bring it to one of your local, secondhand shops to purchase? If you've got those in your state, then they often pay littler amounts because they're putting it up to make money off it. So you're happy to bring a whole bag full and get $50 for the bag, when realistically, if you sold piece by piece, it would be $200, $300 on your own, or what have you. So what value do you place on it? There was something else I was going to say, but I can't think of what that was. It might pop in later, but
no problem. So I know, Virginia, that you have a really great resource, and I've put the link with this video as well, and it's the wardrobe worthy checklist, because I know sometimes when we stand in front of our wardrobe and think about where do we even start or get started with decluttering, or thinking about streamlining our wardrobe and not having that overwhelm and wanting to use it with ease, that we need that sort of starting point. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the worksheet and what people can expect from it?
Yeah, so I have a little booklet that's a guide to help you to step-by-step get through your wardrobe and declutter it. There is, like I said, a flow chart that's in there that sort of, gives you a starting question. Have I worn it recently? Yes, no. And then it just goes through a whole bunch of questions, and I've tried to sort of get in there and have any question that would sort of come to mind, and any objections to that, to really help you decide if this piece belongs in the wardrobe. If you, and then, as we've talked about today, if you are going to keep it, does it actually belong in a memory box because it's a sentimental item, or is it going to charity, or is it going in the bin, type of thing? Can you photograph it all? It has little questions to go, well, can you purge this altogether, or is it being stored somewhere instead? So that's the guide to sort of get you through your wardrobe and make your wardrobe life nice and clean. So like I said, you can open the doors in the morning to get dressed and go, this is not stressful, which is what.
And that's what we want. We've got enough to deal with on an everyday basis. The start of it doesn't need to be stressful at all.
That's right.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Virginia. As always, it's a pleasure to hang out with you, whether that's virtually or in person. And thank you so much for sharing your top tips and strategies around, organizing and decluttering your wardrobe space and some of the emotions that might be behind it. So if you do want help in terms of making that an easier process, then please pop over to the link that I've shared just with this video and download the flowchart, and that will very much walk you through some of the decisions that you'll need to make when you look at each garment in your wardrobe, or shoes and accessories. But hopefully you're all holding on to the earrings that give you joy as well.
Only if you're wearing them. You love
but
it.
I could see an earring collage. Like, I could see that as a piece of art.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, well, some people do have nice jewelry boards. They create the big photo frame board and then hang them all up. So
yeah, love it. It's great. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you again for another Life and Style. Take care, everyone. Bye.